Hi everyone, it's Becky from Keep It Simple Esperanto, and in this video I'm going to review a course, an online course which promises to teach you Esperanto in just 12 days. Now because I'm on holiday and I've already learned a tiny bit of Esperanto, I decided to do this course as quickly as I could, which is not an ideal way to learn it, but it's given me a really good idea of how it works, and indeed how Esperanto works. So I managed to complete the course in just over a day, and my head wanted to explode at the end of that, but I think it helped that I already had a little bit of understanding. Now, it's a really good course. It's free to use. You don't have to register. You can, like I did, you can do it on a computer, or because it's mobile optimized, you can do it on a mobile device as well. So here's the first screen. The address, I'll put it in the link below, but the address is learn.esperanto.com. So first things first, you pick your native language, or the language you want to learn from. So in my case that's English. And an introduction page, Esperanto in 12 days, the fastest course for the basics, teaches you the most important 500 words. The course consists of 12 lessons, each with a text, a grammar clarification and 3 exercises. So then you press start and it takes you to lesson number 1, which is called Amico Marco, and you'll see there's an audio file that you can play and then a text underneath. The text is just a straight transliteration of the audio. So you press play here, and then you get to hear the lesson, and then you read the text. Read along the text with as you're listening to the audio. Now, I've learned a little bit of Esperanto before, so I did understand the majority of what was in lesson 1, just lesson 1 though. And but even so, there are a few words I didn't understand. So the really good thing about this text, about this course, is that every single word in Esperanto you can click on, or if you're using a computer, you just hover over it, and it gives you a translation. And because Esperanto is broken down into different parts, you might already know this, but the Esperanto words are quite often made following certain rules. They're based on a root, and then you can add affixes basically to slightly modify the meaning. And it breaks it down so you can see exactly what that word means and where it comes from. So that's one thing I really liked about this particular course, is you can see the breakdown. You do get that in Duolingo as well, but I don't know why. I found it much more useful here than in Duolingo. I think this first lesson, to somebody who's never learned Esperanto before, I think this is quite intimidating because there's a heck of a lot of text and it's a minute long. The audio is a minute long. So if you don't already know some Esperanto, I just think looking at it, it's daunting. But stick with it. It's well worth it, in my opinion. This is a really good course. So once you've listened and read, you click on new words, and that'll give you a vocabulary list of all the words that were used in that recording, and it gives you a few bonuses at the bottom as well. So you'll get a handful of vocabulary straight off the bat. Again, it's quite daunting to look at if you don't already know some Esperanto, but it is worth spending some time on this. It's really useful. After that, you click on the grammar tab. Again, this is the first lesson, so it just covers some super basic things like the alphabet, pronunciation, really basic things, but again, super useful. And in my opinion, the explanations of the grammar are much better than in a place like Duolingo, so I really like this course, can you tell? Once you've done the grammar, it's time to do some exercises. So exercise 1 is just a straight translation. So you get a word. This is quite a difficult exercise, I find, particularly for a newbie like me. But it's really good for practicing all those affixes we were talking about. So, for example, the first word here, I'm going to give you the answer, is amikino. So for somebody who knows Esperanto, a word that ends in O is a noun. Amico is friend. In fact, is a male friend. Any word with an in near the end is like a female version. So amikino is a female friend. So if I just write that in the box here, female friend, and it gives me automatically a little tick to say that I'm correct. Now there are some words later on that I translated, and because I didn't give the exact word that the computer was looking for, it marked me as wrong, even though my translation meant exactly the same thing as the computer's translation. Okay, so just be aware of that. But it's really good for practicing the construction of the words, the structure of Esperanto, if you like. So then we've done exercise number 1, head to exercise 2, and it's more of the same. We just complete the phrases, just fill in the boxes, and it'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Exercise 3, this is more about sentences. Now, this is one thing I didn't like so much about this course. I actually preferred the Duolingo course for exercises, at least. What it does, it takes each word and it takes each sentence and breaks it down into individual words. So you end up just translating word for word. You don't use your brain to think about how the sentence should be structured. And a lot of the time the sentence structure is very similar to English, but not always. So I think the kind of free practice of Duolingo is more flexible and more realistic than the structured translation in exercise 3 here. So when you've done that, you just press forward. You don't have to get all of the translations right. You don't have to get all the exercises right. You don't even have to do any of the exercises to be able to go on to the next day. So yeah, like I said, I managed to finish this course really quite quickly. It took me just over a day to do it, but I strongly recommend you take a little bit longer to do it, just because there is a lot of very useful information, and I have definitely not memorized everything that's in there, but I've just got a good kind of overall view. My intention is to go back more slowly through the course so I can absorb a little bit more, particularly about the grammar and the affixes as well. So yeah, I would say learn Esperanto in 12 days. Really, really good start to Esperanto. It just gives you all of the basics. It's giving you 500 words to start the language with, and I think if you really internalize everything that this course teaches you, I think you've got the potential to actually go a very long way with Esperanto. Of course, 500 words is a fairly limited vocabulary, but it's enough, I think, to have, to at least start a conversation, So I would definitely recommend this for beginners, for absolute beginners. The only thing I would say is the exercises, they're very good for, I would say they're very good for learning how to structure those Esperanto words with all of their suffixes, etc. But I don't think they're quite as natural as Duolingo. I maintain that Duolingo is very, very good for practicing, for just refreshing yourself and exercising your Esperanto skills, but for actually learning, this course is a lot better. It's not perfect. There's still 1 or 2 points on the grammar which weren't very clear, particularly in lesson 12. There were a few things that were just thrown in at the end which didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like they'd just been dumped in lesson 12 because they couldn't fit anywhere else. They didn't fit in the story, they were just thrown in there. But I guess no course is perfect. As a beginner's course, I would say this is as close to perfect as you can probably get at the moment. So my advice, take a little bit longer than 1 day to learn it, but you can definitely learn Esperanto with this. I'd still recommend practicing with something like Duolingo or another app if you have one, okay? If you have any more tips, any more ideas, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.